News channel. You can hear me tomorrow if you're on Sydney on the Drive program on ABC Radio Sydney. Do stay with us now for the National Flag Raising and Citizenship Ceremony.
Hello, I'm Stephanie Brantz. Welcome to the shores of Lake Burley-Griffin for the 2020 National Flag Raising and Citizenship Ceremony. Alongside me, our commentators, Commissioner of the ACT Emergency Services Agency, Georgeina Whelan, and the ABC's very own Dan Borchio. Good morning.
And good morning to you. Today is not just about being thankful we live in a country of such diverse cultures and peoples. It's also about celebrating the Aussie spirit and what it means to be an Australian, especially those traits of strength, of resilience, of tenacity in the face of disaster and tragedy.
Absolutely, Dan. Today our thoughts are with all Australians who've suffered as a consequence of these unprecedented bushfires this season. We'd also like to send a big thank you to our firefighters, our volunteers, international colleagues and the ADF for their commitment, compassion and professionalism in combating these unprecedented fires.
Yeah, we echo that heartfelt thanks to everyone involved. And if you want to be involved in helping communities and Australians rebuild their lives and their communities after the bushfires and the droughts, go to abc.net.au/appeals. Earlier this morning, Naunawal elder Auntie Tina Brown welcomed visitors and guests here to Naunawal country with a traditional smoking ceremony to ward off bad energy, and also especially important for those 29 conferees who will become Australians today by the Prime Minister here in the nation's capital.
Yes, we began today's events with the Woogalora morning ceremony in Sydney. And now we welcome the Australian Federation Guard here to our wonderful location on the shores of Lake Burley-Griffin for the 2020 National Flag Raising and Citizenship Ceremony.
And the first thing we see is the lead party of the Australian Federation Guard carrying a very large Australian flag on this clear, sunny and, Georgina, getting warm day.
Absolutely, Dan. Yes, it is wonderful to be here. The flag certainly is impressive, isn't it? It's not small either, 7.3 metres long and 3.66 metres high, and it requires 8 personnel to carry it.
And wherever you're watching this, we welcome you this morning live on ABC TV, ABC Australia and ABC iView for the next hour. Now, the Federation Guard have got their own dedicated drum corps, but they don't have their own band. Instead, well, those duties are shared, so everyone gets a bit of a go.
Yes, and this year the band of the Royal Military College of Duntroon, or the RMC band as they're known, have the honours under the musical direction of Major Darren Cole. They're based here in our very own Canberra, and leading them today is Band Sergeant Major, Warrant Officer Class 1 Gary Kira.
And we were just watching the flag as it's making its way across Ronda Terrace towards Regatta Point and the Canadian flagpole. We'll come back to that in a moment because we're seeing the incredible precision here of the band. What would be the training and what would be they thinking right now?
They would be very proud of themselves indeed, representing not only their band, the Australian Army and the ADF, but obviously this year being a very emotional Australia Day with the bushfires, would be very proud to be out here supporting the new citizens of Australia.
Commissioner, you know better than I about those that have served, that have helped, and you know that there are people that are family, friends of so many that we know. This has really touched most Australians. And I guess one of the key things about today, isn't it, is about celebrating those who have chosen to make Australia their home. 29 new citizens are going to become Aussies right here in Canberra.
That's right, Dan. Australia Day is the most popular day for people to receive their citizenship. Today, a staggering 27,419 individuals, made up of 160 nationalities, are scheduled to attend a staggering 454 ceremonies being held across our country today.
And you'd have to think that there are going to be proud family members right across the nation. Now, the RMC band officially formed in 1954. It's performed at plenty of prestigious ceremonies over over the past 66 years, including supporting the Peace Monitoring Group in Bougainville and more recently at the 2019 Royal Edinburgh Military Tattoo in Sydney. I'm not sure if you caught it, it was a spectacle.
It was indeed. And now we can see the Federation Guard under the command of Squadron Leader Ben Cowan. A little bit later, he'll be accompanying the new Governor-General, General David Hurley, when he inspects the Guard.
There are 155 Guard members on parade today, the youngest being Aircraftsman Kai Atkinson, who's just 18 years old. The longest serving member is Corporal Dean Norman. He's served 28 years in defence and will be on the gun line today. That's quite a service record, isn't it?
It is indeed.
And the band are playing a tune called Royal Australian Navy, composed by Alex F. Lithgow. Georgeina, in the 33 years of military service, I reckon that you will have been to quite a few of these kind of events.
I have indeed, both in the audience and on parade myself. It's such a pleasure to see and hear them. They are just a fantastic band. And as an absolutely mad Raiders fan, it is fantastic to see the band and the Guard support the Viking clap at the beginning of every game in our beautiful Canberra.
I reckon you and Ricky Stewart will be hoping that that gives it the extra boost it needs this year. I just want to touch on those rifles that you can see the soldiers carrying there that the Federation Guard have. Unlike some ceremonial units around the world, most have been structurally modified to make them lighter. Well, this one weighs 4.3 kilos, is 114 centimetres long. The magazine and bayonet have been chrome-plated and to enhance the drill movements performed by members of the unit, giving it that real shine.
It is professionalism on display today, Dan.
Guard into line. Left. 10. Guard. Inwards. Guard! Order! Arms! Guard! Stand at 8!
Now on the stage...
Would everyone please stand and face the flagpoles for the breaking of the 3 local flags and the national anthem.
Guard! I turn! Shut! I turn! Shut! Guard! Shoulder! Arms! Australia's Federation Guard! General salute! Present! Arms! Guard! Shoulder! Arms! Guard! Order! Arms! Guard! Stand at 8!
Please be seated. Australia Day is the day on which all Australians, whether by birth or by choice, come together to take pride in their citizenship and reflect on what it means to be Australian. It's a day to celebrate contemporary Australia and acknowledge our history. From our Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people who've been here for more than 60,000 years, to those who've lived here for generations, and to those who've come from all over the world to call our country home. On the first Australia Day of the decade, we unite and celebrate the freedoms and opportunities we enjoy living in a peaceful and democratic nation. Australia prizes the diversity of its people, our ability to live harmoniously, and our commitment to a shared vision of the future. Most recently, we've shown our strength and compassion in the face of adversity, with many citizens battling bushfires and droughts around the country. Our thoughts and prayers go out to you all, as well as our sincere thanks to everyone who's lent a hand helping to unite our rural communities. Soon, the Prime Minister and Governor-General will arrive to share this day with us. Also in attendance are some very special guests, finalists and past recipients of Australian of the Year awards from all of Australia's states and territories. And of course, we'll be joined by this year's Australian of the Year, Dr. James Mukey, Senior Australian of the Year, Professor John Newnham, AM, and Australia's local hero for 2020, Bernie Shakeshaft. The Young Australian of the Year, Ash Barty, is of course in competition at the Australian Open in Melbourne, so can't be with us today. Ladies and gentlemen, it now gives me great pleasure to welcome the Chair of the National Australia Day Council, Ms Danielle Roach, OAM, who will greet the Prime Minister, the Honourable Scott Morrison.
And we're seeing there the arrival now of the Prime Minister, and it's important to note what an important day this is for the Prime Minister in spite of his recent loss of his father. His official car there pulling up to be greeted by the Chair of the National Australia Day Council.
Please stand for the arrival of the Prime Minister of Australia.
He'll be received on parade with a general salute in just a moment.
Sorry, Snowy, it's been a terrible migration.
Australians here are just incredible as far
It was very well received too, I think.
wonderful people. Very hard decisions to make.
Yeah, but you made it before. I've got to take a seat.
The Prime Minister will now be received on parade with a general salute.
Australia's Federation Guard, General Salute, present, up! Guard, shoulder, up! Guard, order, up!
Ladies and gentlemen, the Prime Minister of Australia, the Honourable Scott Morrison. Please remain standing for the arrival of Their Excellencies, the Governor-General of the Commonwealth of Australia, General the Honourable David Hurley and Mrs Hurley.
And as the Governor-General arrives, a special moment, I'm sure, his first national flag raising and citizenship ceremony as Governor-General of the Commonwealth of Australia. There, all the ceremony as he arrives here on Ron Terrace in the nation's capital.
Yes, the Honourable David Hurley is Australia's 27th Governor-General. He spent 42 years in the military, his service culminating in his appointment as the Chief of the Defence Force. Dan, I've had the privilege of working for General Hurley on 2 occasions, when I was his Chief Health Advisor and also when he was the Chief of the Defence Force.
The Governor-General will now be received with the Vice-Regal salute.
Australia's Federation Guard, Royal Salute, present, ups. Guard, shoulder, ups. Guard, order, ups.
Please be seated as the Guard Commander, Squadron Leader Ben Cowan, invites the Governor-General to inspect Australia's Federation Guard and the band of the Royal Military College Duntroon.
Good morning, Your Excellency. I'm Squadron Leader Ben Cowan, Officer Commanding Australia's Federation Guard, and I invite you to inspect the Guard and the band of the Royal Military College.
So the RMC band will be playing a traditional tune called Salute to Australia. But they will stop playing when the Governor-General has an opportunity to inspect them on the completion of the Guard inspection. Dan?
The Federation Guard was established in the year 2000. Their ceremonial activities include support for the Governor-General and Prime Minister in welcoming foreign heads of government. They're central to marking national days of significance, days of remembrance and anniversaries of historic military significance. And there the Governor-General looks so proud as he goes along, doesn't he?
Absolutely, Dan, showing respect for the Australian flag as he's walking past the front row of the Guard this morning.
And having worked alongside His Excellency, what would be going through his head now?
He'll be very proud indeed, having served for many years. You can see him here having a chat to the young corporal from the Air Force. He's probably commenting on the operational experience of that young Air Force person, given the medals that he's got on his shirt.
And he was able to pick exactly what that experience would be from those medals.
Absolutely. Obviously, General, in his time as the commanding officer of the 1st Battalion Royal Australian Regiment, he himself deployed and commanded that battalion in Somalia in the early 90s.
See the band there, and the squadron leader Ben Cowan will shortly hand over to Major Darren Cole to inspect the band of the Royal Military College Duntroon as well.
And I think we have to have a big shout out to the Royal Military College Band. Dan, they're playing in Bega today, parts of their band, to support Bega Valley Shire Council's Australia Day ceremony. And of course, as we know, there are many ADF personnel supporting Operation Bushfire Assist.
Very fine, thank you. Good. Band of the Royal Military College Duntroon is ready for inspection. Thanks. Little characteristically.
Okay. Morning, Excellency. Very good. Warm enough day for it. It's getting active.
Yes, Major Darren Cole has been the music director of the band for 2 years now, enlisting in the Army in 1998 as a trombonist. And of course, his first position was in the Army Band in Sydney.
And Commissioner during his career, Major Cole has played in Bougainville, East Timor and the Solomon Islands, as well as Gallipoli, Turkey, Tokyo, Japan and Switzerland.
Yep, thank you.
Day ahead, I would imagine. Busy day ahead, I would imagine.
Go straight from here up to Sydney citizenship ceremony.
Obviously, from the sounds of that conversation, a busy day for the Governor-General today, and obviously the Federation Guard still has some more tasks ahead of themselves.
Ladies and gentlemen, please stand and welcome their Excellencies, the Governor-General of the Commonwealth of Australia, His Excellency General the Honourable David Hurley and Mrs Hurley. Please be seated. We now come to a very special part of our Australia Day celebrations, the Australian flag raising ceremony. To start the ceremony, I'd like to invite Naunawal Elder, Auntie Tina Brown of the people of the Naunawal Nation to welcome us to country.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the beautiful lands of the Naunawal. I'll begin by paying my respects to my parents, all of the Naunawal elders and ancestors. I thank you for giving me life and teaching me about our country and our people. I especially live my life in honour of my father, Carl Brown, who has taken his place among the honoured ancestors, and my mother, Louise Brown. I thank you for the legacy you grew and passed to me and to my brothers and sisters. I acknowledge you, the Governor-General and the Prime Minister and distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. I also acknowledge my Indigenous brothers and sisters across the many nations of this country, as well as all Australians, wherever you may be on this special day. What a privilege it is to be here today at the Australian National Day flag raising ceremony here in Canberra, on the beautiful lands of my people, the Naunawal. Before formally welcoming you to this very important event, let me tell you about my people and these beautiful lands in which Canberra sits on. Canberra is a local word meaning meeting place. Our people and nearby clan groups have been meeting in this area for nearly 30,000 years. More than 100 generations of my family and our people have walked these lands and felt the waters flow through their fingers. We have been able to maintain this continuous connection because this abundant country provided fresh air to breathe, clean water to drink, nourishing food to eat, and clothing and shelter to keep us cool through the hot summers and warm through our cold winters. It is on this land that my ancestors forged their resilience and grew their knowledge of country, and handed to those of us who follow them the legacy of our ancestral beings and our creation stories, and our responsibility for the future of the people in our country. Our ancestors formed pathways across this land to guide us. These pathways followed the river and creek corridors, and the ridges and spurs and hills and mountains, linking our major spiritual gathering places. The responsibility for the future of our people and country now rests with all of us, which is why I'm here today conducting this welcome to country. So on behalf of my parents and our extended family, on behalf of this country's first Australians, I welcome you to Canberra, to this event, to the ancestral lands of the Naunawal. Enjoy Canberra's story and Australia's story while you are on these lands, from its ancient stories brought to life through the Naunawal and our contribution to the region, to the most recent stories about Canberra and our nation's achievements. Today, you too will become part of this story. I also would like to acknowledge the oldest continuous culture on this planet and its place in this recent and modern Australia. And I acknowledge you, my fellow Australians, for it is the dust of the bones of my ancestors and the dust of the bones of your ancestors that mix together, shaping this land, uniting us as stewards of its future. Welcome to the beautiful lands of my ancestors, the Ngunnawal peoples.
Thank you, Auntie Tina, for that welcome to country and also for the smoking ceremony earlier this morning. I'd now like to invite to the stage the Chair of the National Australia Day Council, Olympian and recipient of the Medal of the Order of Australia, Ms Danielle Roach.
His Excellency General the Honourable David Hurley, AC DSC, Her Excellency Mrs Linda Hurley, Prime Minister the Honourable Scott Morrison MP, the Honourable Ben Morton, Assistant Minister to the Prime Minister, Heads of our Defence Forces, Her Excellency Miss Nanita Barbalescu, Dean of the Diplomatic Corps and Ambassador of Romania, Your Excellencies, members of the Diplomatic Corps, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to start by thanking Tina Brown for a wonderfully warm welcome to country. We are meeting here on the lands of the Naunawal people, and I pay my respects to their elders, past, present and emerging. Good morning and happy Australia Day. It's a pleasure to be here. Australia Day is a day to reflect, to respect and to celebrate. On Australia Day, we reflect the story of our nation. We reflect on the people who built our nation, from the first peoples to the waves of migration that built our modern society. We respect their contribution to building a nation on the shared values of democracy, individual freedom, the rule of law and equality. Australia is a nation of 25 million people. We come from more than 200 countries and we speak many languages. To be Australian is to respect that we all have our views and that we all have a contribution to make. On Australia Day, we celebrate our nation's unique and envied place in the world. As a federation, our nation is still young, but we have much to be proud of, like our achievements in science, medicine, in the arts, and in sport. There is another uniquely Australian trait that we should celebrate today more than any other day, our spirit of volunteerism. There can be no greater test of a nation than its strength in a society than in a time of crisis. Today, we thank the men and women who put themselves in harm's way, push themselves to the limits of physical and emotional endurance to help their fellow Australians during the bushfire crisis. For many communities, today provides the first opportunity to pause and give thanks to our nation's volunteers. Many of them will spend Australia Day on the front lines, fighting fires, helping people recover, and providing vital support to emergency services. We are grateful for their service. And we remember those who tragically lost their lives and those who lost their homes. We are thinking of them and their families today and into the future. On Australia Day, we also celebrate the 2020 Australians of the Year. Australian of the Year, Dr. James Mukey from South Australia. Senior Australian of the Year, Professor John Newham, AM from Western Australia. Australia's local hero, Bernie Shakeshar from New South Wales. And I'm delighted to say that our young Australian of the Year, Ash Barty, is not here because there will be no greater evening than watching her play tennis at the Australian Open tonight. Best of luck, Ash, and congratulations on being our young Australian of the Year. In each of them, we see the reflection of our best selves. People who saw a wrong and didn't wait for someone else to make it right. People who dedicated their lives to making life better for others, and people who inspire people around them. When historian and writer Mark McKenna visited the Australian of the Year walk on the opposite side of Lake Burley Griffin from where we stand today, he was taken by the blank plaques awaiting future Australians of the Year. He wrote, "These blank plaques, memorials to the future, stand as if waiting for the years to pass, before they can be filled and become whole. Yet strangely, they seem more intriguing than the plaques that precede them. It is possible to imagine the line of blank plaques stretching on endlessly, and their emptiness begs the question, what sort of nation will Australia become over the next few decades? Today, more than 27,000 people will confirm their Australian citizenship at ceremonies around the nation. It is they who will answer the question of what our nation becomes by writing their own chapter into the story of Australia, because we're all part of the story. To accept Australian citizenship means committing to making a contribution to a harmonious, successful and multicultural nation. You come from every culture, every race, every faith, but today you become Australian. Welcome and congratulations. Today, Australians across the country and around the world will find their own way to reflect, respect and celebrate our National Day. Whether you are at home or overseas or visiting our shores, I wish you all a very happy Australia Day. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Danielle. Now, if I can direct your gaze over the waters of Lake Burley Griffin towards the Canadian flagpole in Commonwealth Park. This flagpole was a gift from the Canadian government and since 1957 has flown the Australian flag every day, except for one day, of course, each year, on Canada Day, when the Canadian flag is flown. I invite you to stand as we look across to Regatta Point. The national anthem will be played, after which I invite you to once more take your seats.
Guard! Attention! Attention! Guard! Shoulder up! Australia's Federation Guard. General salute. Present up! Guard! Shoulder up!
So the flagpole that we were just seeing a moment ago, originally named Polly the Pole, before it was changed to the Canadian flagpole. I want to just take your attention now to the flyover by the F-18 Hornet, piloted today by Flight Lieutenant Ryan from the Royal Australian Air Force Base in Williamstown. What a sight that is. You can see it and you can probably start to hear it coming over the Capitol, over the Parliament House.
That is spectacular.
The 21 gun salute will be fired from 6 howitzer 105mm M282 howitzers, and there comes them. Doing just over 1,000 kilometres per hour. For the jet enthusiasts out there, it can actually go twice as fast as at its top speed, which is Mach 1.2. Now, these particular cannons were used during the Vietnam War, most notably during the Battle of the Coral.
Ladies and gentlemen, I invite you once more to please stand as the Federation Guard and the band of the Royal Military College Duntroon are formally farewelled by the Governor-General before they leave the parade ground.
Australia's Federation Guard, Royal Salute, present, up. Guard, shoulder, up. Guard, order, up.
As you take your seats, would you please thank Australia's Federation Guard and the band of the Royal Military College Duntroon.
Guard, shoulder, up.
Yes, the band has been quite fabulous today, and they can be very proud of their parade and their performance.
And I wonder what their superior officers, Commissioner, will be thinking, their mums and dads, siblings around the nation today.
Well, I think their family and friends will be very proud of them, and I think they will be having a little bit of a sigh of relief because that was a parade very well done.
And the precision that we're seeing that goes into every aspect, every element of this is something special, isn't it?
It is. They spend many hours rehearsing, Dan. The band, obviously very busy throughout the year in the Guard. This is a full-time role on a 2-year posting for these men and women. There they go.
And Commissioner, earlier you mentioned about the volunteers, the firefighters around the nation. I wonder if you can give us a sense of how some of those are feeling that you've been talking to.
Look, we have many volunteers here in the ACT and, of course, across Australia. They're very proud of themselves. Dan, they are pretty tired. It's been a very long season. But the commitment, the tenacity, just they're so proud of what they're doing for their community, and the community is very proud of them.
And as the Commissioner, you must be so proud as well of how hard they have worked.
Oh, they are second to none, Dan. In adversity, we are united as a community, and just the hard work of our full-time firefighters, our volunteers, our international colleagues who've come to support us from Canada, the United States, and of course our very own Australian Defence Force. And we can see the young men and women on parade today who represent, the 50,000+ people in our ADF, of which many reservists have come to support us in the last 3 months.
Yeah, and what's really struck me has been the community reaction, the tens of millions of dollars donated, the goodwill, and the way that this has, in a sense, out of tragedy, community is solidified.
Community is what we're all about, Dan. That's why we do the jobs that we do. Dan, as the RMC band leaves the parade, playing the Army March, a march I myself graduated to many, many years ago.
Must bring back memories.
It does, very fond ones indeed.
It's now my great pleasure to introduce Rachel Learcar, a singer, songwriter and public speaker with 5 top 10 albums under her belt. She also won the People's Choice Pop Award in the South Australian Music Awards. You may remember her from The Voice, when 4 million people tuned in to watch her audition. Despite being legally blind, Rachel has achieved much success both in Australia and overseas. We're very lucky to be able to hear her hauntingly beautiful voice today. She will now sing This Is Me, accompanied by the ANU Contemporary Choir and pianist Jeff Williams. Would you please give them a very warm welcome?
Stranger to the dark, hide away. They say we don't want your broken parts. I've learned to be ashamed of all my scars. Run away. They say they'll never love you as you are, but I won't let them break me down to dust. I know that there's a place for us, for we are glorious. When the sharpest words want to cut me down, I'm gonna send a flood, gonna drown them out. I am brave, I am bruised, I am who I'm meant to be. This is me. Look out, 'cause here I come, and I'm marching on to the beat I drum. I'm not scared to be seen, I'll make no apologies. This is me. Another round of bullets hits my skin. Well, fire away, 'cause today I won't let the shame sink in. We are bursting through the barricades and reaching for the sun. Yeah, that's what we become. I won't let them break me down to dust. I know that there's a place for us, for we're glorious. When the sharpest words want to cut me down, I'm gonna send a flood, gonna drown them out. I am brave, I am bruised, I am who I'm meant to be. This is me. Look out, 'cause here I come, and I'm marching on to the beat I drum. I'm not scared to be seen, I make no apologies. This is me. And I know that I deserve your love, and there's nothing I'm not worthy of. When the sharpest words wanna cut me down, I'm gonna send a flood, gonna drown them out. This is brave, this is bruised, this is who I'm meant to be. This is me. Look out, 'cause here I come. Look out, here I come. Marching on, marching, marching on. Ooh, this is me. Whenever the words go, whenever the words go, in the depths of my heart. Oh, this is me.
Ladies and gentlemen, Rachel Learcar, Jeff Williams and the ANU Contemporary Choir. Thank you. And we'll hear from Rachel and the choir again a little later. Today, ladies and gentlemen, citizenships are held all around the country. Ceremonies are hosted by local government councils, community organisations and the Department of Home Affairs. Thousands of people will make a pledge of commitment that means they can officially call Australia home. Here in our nation's capital, 29 people are taking on the rights and responsibilities of being Australian citizens. And charged with the responsibility of officiating at this ceremony, would you please now join me in welcoming to the stage the Prime Minister of Australia, the Honourable Scott Morrison.
Welcome everyone, Your Excellencies, the Governor-General, Mrs Hurley, to you Danielle Roach and the wonderful team of the Australia Day Council, to Australians of the Year, you're magnificent. Thank you so much. To ministers who are here with us today, parliamentary colleagues, but importantly Australians all, but especially to you Auntie Tina and to the Ngunnawal people, I start today by acknowledging you, our first Australians, and pay my respects to elders past and present, and importantly emerging, which is the future. And I also acknowledge on this very important day all who have served and who are serving our nation today in our defence forces wherever you are, our veterans as well, and simply say on behalf of a grateful nation, thank you for your service. And on this day, Australia Day, we acknowledge all those who have gone before us, from ancient times until modern. We stand here today because of their sacrifice, their learnings, their stories, their efforts, their trials. My great-great-aunt, Dame Mary Gilmore, I thought it put it best in her verse, Heritage, where she wrote, "Not of ourselves are we free, not of ourselves are we strong. The fruit is never the tree, nor the singer the song. The strength we give is the strength we make, and the strength we give is the strength we take. Given us down from long gone years, cleansed in the salt of others' tears. The fruit is never the tree, nor the singer the song. Not of ourselves are we free, not of ourselves are we strong." In this season, we've been reminded anew that Australia's story has always been one of achievement, but also one of pain, effort, prosperity, struggle, and it is the story of a people from ancient times till now overcoming the many challenges and learning the important lessons that come from living in this great continent. This summer, we stand in trial. Australians have rallied to each other. This Australia Day, we honour and especially celebrate our wonderful volunteers, our firefighters, especially those who've never returned home from the fire grounds, our emergency service workers and forestry workers, the members of our defence forces, including 3,000 reservists who answered the call, our community, our church, and indeed our wildlife groups and the many young people involved, those who set up evacuation centres, distributed supplies and tended to the needs of our wildlife and our animals, and the generous support of an amazing nation, our school kids donating their pocket money. Through it all, it has not been easy. The homes lost, the lives lost, the businesses destroyed. But there are remarkable stories. The captain of the Wingello Brigade, Mark Wilson, described the night fire swept through Wingello in early January. The crews moved from house to house, and in his words, it was run, run, run. He said near night's end he felt like we were losing, but when the sun rose, he realised their efforts and those of other brigades had saved the town. 14 houses, yes, were lost that night in Wingello. Painful for a small town, excruciating for the families, but 80 homes were saved. The general store was saved as well. That's the story of this summer. It's the story of our today. a story of perseverance and struggle and overcoming, a story of pain and loss and seeming failure at times, and yet at the same time, a story of courage, perseverance, and a willingness to fight until the sun rises. It's a story that prevails, everyone playing their part. Many more stories will never be known, but all of which will remind us, those who know them, what it means to be Australian. Raj Gupta, the pharmacist at Malua Bay, kept the pharmacy open even without a payment system right throughout the worst of the bushfires, even though he'd lost his own home in the blaze. He wanted to make sure the medicines got through. In Gippsland, a local Indian restaurant have been cooking thousands of free meals of curry and rice for bushfire victims. The owners said they were simply following the Sikh way of life and also just doing what other Australians are doing today. In Yeppoon, the local Big W manager refused to take any money from customers who'd lost their homes and only had the clothes on their backs. In Bega, a supermarket trolley attendant offered his own home to parents and kids sheltering overnight in the underground car park, and countless others opened up their homes as well. And on Kangaroo Island, teenagers gathered frightened and injured koalas into their car, mirroring so many other efforts protecting our wildlife. 8 Indigenous men from Burke and Brewarrina in Western New South Wales, chosen by their elders, cared for their country. They've been protecting sacred sites, caring for kin and fighting fires. And an all-Indigenous firefighting crew matched this effort. The Gunaya Kurtnai women, the all-Indigenous, all-female firefighting crew from the Lake Tyers Brigade, fighting to protect family, community and sacred land. That's the spirit of our nation on display. Fighting fires, caring for people, tending animals, helping others, not counting the cost. Our volunteers understand the best lives stem from making a contribution rather than taking one. As my late father John taught me through his own life's example, life is about what you contribute, not what you accumulate. We have so many liberties, and Australians, they are only exceeded by our individual responsibilities to make Australia even stronger. The spirit of the volunteer understands that our nation's greatest lies not in the great buildings behind me here, but in the strength and vitality of the thousands of local communities that together make up our incredible nation, a sum greater than its parts. And of all these communities, they are dependent on the strength of the families and the individuals that make them up. These bonds are not found in the compulsion of governments, but the autonomy, self-expression and sovereignty of local people. That is what our volunteer spirit serves. Our communities, the families and the individuals they comprise. They serve us all. That is why I'm so pleased to announce on this special day that Australia's brave fire, police, ambulance and emergency service volunteers and workers, along with the Defence Force personnel and reservists, and indeed those overseas personnel who came to our aid, will be eligible to receive a medal in recognition of their service and sacrifice during this most dreadful bushfire season. The National Emergency Medal will honour the selflessness, courage and sacrifice that we have all witnessed this summer. Ladies and gentlemen, our national identity, which we celebrate today, is not a negative or exclusive tribalism. Rather, it is the positive identity that comes from living a life as a good citizen and who thinks and believes in something greater than their own self. This is the greatness of Australia. This is the strength of Australia. This is our secret. This is why, as Australians, we prevail. Because of that, our instinct as Australians has always been to look over the horizon, to look to the hope that is there, that we know is there. It is why we are hopeful, even in difficult times. And we are so because of the example of those, as I said, who come before us, and those who are there today, who dream big, work hard, think of others rather than themselves, and because of them, we have been granted to us this amazing country that we claim today as Australians as our own, the best place on earth. Happy Australia Day. Now we move to the very exciting part, the part we've been waiting for, the citizenship ceremony. And today, I'm advised that there are more Australians today on Australia Day becoming an Australian citizen that we've seen before. And that's a tremendous time for that to be happening right now in Australia. So, as a requirement of the Australian Citizenship Act 2007, I will now read the preamble. Australian citizenship represents full and formal membership of the community of the Commonwealth of Australia, and Australian citizenship is a common bond involving reciprocal rights and obligations uniting all Australians while respecting their diversity. Persons on whom Australian citizenship is conferred enjoy these rights and undertake to accept these obligations by pledging loyalty to Australia and its people, and by sharing their democratic beliefs, and by respecting their rights and liberties, and by upholding and obeying the laws of Australia. I would now like to call on candidates who have indicated they wish to make a pledge. Number 1, which is the pledge containing the words "under God," to stand, please. If you wish to make the pledge on a holy book, please hold it in your hands now. And please repeat after me, line by line, this pledge. From this time forward, under God, I pledge my loyalty to Australia and its people, whose democratic beliefs I share, whose rights and liberties I respect, and whose laws I will uphold and obey. Congratulations, welcome to the Australian family. Please be seated. Thank you very much. I would now like to call on candidates who have indicated they wish to make pledge number 2 to stand and repeat after me, line by line, this pledge. From this time forward, I pledge my loyalty to Australia and its people, whose democratic beliefs I share, whose rights and liberties I respect, and whose laws I will uphold and obey. Congratulations and welcome also to our wonderful Australian family as citizens. Please join me in welcoming those citizens once again, all of them. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Prime Minister, and I invite you to remain on stage to present our new citizens with their citizenship certificates. Assisting today are Sarah Yaya, a graduate from the Department of Home Affairs, and Lauren Murphy, a member of the Indigenous Cadet Program. They'll be helping with the certificates and the gifts to commemorate this occasion. New citizens, as I read your name, please come forward and receive your certificate and pause for a photograph with the Prime Minister. Ladies and gentlemen, first up, would you please welcome from the Republic of Ireland, the Clark and Seal family, Sinead, Scott, Daniel and Anthony.
Dan, I was chatting with the Clark family earlier this morning and realised we'd actually grown up one suburb apart in Dublin.
How's that?
Now, Sinead and Anthony have moved to Australia with their 2 children, Scott and Daniel, 6 years ago.
And they're stopping there for their photograph with the Prime Minister, as well, they now have become Australian citizens.
Very proud-looking family indeed.
Congratulations to the Clark and Seal family. Next up from China, please welcome Fan Yulong and Li Yao,
who originally came to Australia to study at the University of Canberra, but ended up falling in love with the nation, so much so when they graduated, they decided they were going to stay, especially drawn to our relaxed pace of life, which allows them to enjoy life, well, I think it's fair to say, to the fullest.
Now, Dan, I believe that they gave birth to twins 4 weeks ago.
Congratulations on your citizenship to both of you. Yulong, I understand you've already brought 2 new Australian citizens into the world, little girls that were in a bit of a hurry to make it here. They're premature, so still in hospital. How are they?
Yes, they are both all right now in the nursery room. Yes.
Good to hear, and we wish you all the very best with that. But today, of course, is a very special day for you on two occasions. It's your birthday. Happy birthday to you. And how will you celebrate?
Yes, probably we will bring my family to the nursery room to see my twins. I will celebrate the big days.
That sounds perfect. Happy birthday and welcome as Australian citizens. Enjoy your day. Would you please welcome from Poland, Anna Flies.
Anna, an agricultural scientist, while studying for a PhD, also fell in love, but this time with an Aussie named Alex. He suggests they move to Australia after a holiday.
Congratulations, Anna Flies. Please now welcome from the Netherlands, David Rabeling.
So David moved to Australia in 2003 as part of an undergraduate program. After graduating, he returned to Australia to do his PhD.
David, you first moved to Australia as part of your physics engineering degree, I believe. What have you learnt about the country that you love so much?
I've learned a lot, but the things that I wrote down on the form were not exactly. I learned that wombat poo was square, and that drop bears are not real.
Very important Australian fact. It's 3 degrees at the moment in the Netherlands. Enjoy your day and stay out of the heat. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Would you please now welcome from Portugal, the Costa Dias family. Carla, Santiago and Paulo.
They came to explore Australia, decided to stay, have created a life for themselves here since 2014.
Very happy family indeed. Look at those smiles.
Just beaming. So lovely to see.
Congratulations to the Costas Dias family. From Pakistan, would you please welcome the Asim family, Raul, Fajar, Kashmala and Hina.
Now, the Asim family tell us that since they've moved to Australia, they have been fascinated to learn more about our Aboriginal culture and our way of living. Oh, look at that. Beautiful. They love the fact that every individual gets an equal opportunity and can live life to the fullest here in Australia.
Congratulations, Raul, to you and your family. Tell us, your siblings have been here for many years. What made you finally decide to bring your family down under?
I've heard great stories from them. This nation is welcoming as compared to other nations. So when I first landed in Australia, I found that, yeah, it's a great choice to be here.
Now, you had plans for a big celebration today. You've changed them somewhat. Tell us why.
Yes, we had big plans, but what we have decided as a family, we're going to donate that money for the bushfires affectees.
That's true Australian spirit right there. Welcome, congratulations on your citizenship and enjoy your day. Thank you. We now welcome from Switzerland, Claudia Steppid.
Claudia's fascination with Australia began a long time ago. Her mother recorded every television doco she could find about Australia, and she's loved every part ever since.
Congratulations, Claudia Steppin. From Zambia, would you please make her very welcome, Tandy Ray Butcher.
Born in Zambia, Tandy Ray spent 2 years in the United Kingdom before travelling to Australia to study. While studying, she fell in love with her husband.
Tandy Ray Butcher, congratulations on your citizenship. From the United Kingdom and South Africa, please welcome the Baker family, Dean, Keziah, Amelia and Polly.
And it was work that brought them to our shores in 2012. They've also fallen in love with the Aboriginal culture and the multicultural diversity of our nation, which we're seeing on display today. People from 160 nations becoming Australian citizens.
Congratulations to the Baker family. Please now welcome from Venezuela, the Gonzalez family. Nubia, Aaron, Elliot and Simon.
The Gonzalez family moved to Australia from Venezuela in 2011 to work as language specialists. Simon accepted a job offer of higher degree research at the University of Newcastle. Look at that gorgeous little boy.
That little high five from the voice of the Prime Minister was something special.
There'll be some memories there today, Dan.
Now wrangling for the photo. This is the part Dad would be lamenting.
Look at that big smile.
It makes you just realise how special today is.
Absolutely. I'm sure they're looking forward to a barbecue this afternoon.
Simon, congratulations on you and your family's citizenship. What made you decide to take this step?
Well, you know, we came here to study for academic research, but then we suddenly realized that it is more the research what this country can offer. So yeah, it was a great opportunity to come here and be part now of this country.
Now, I see you've embraced some of the local food. You like barramundi, meat pies, and most importantly, Tim Tams. What's on the menu today?
You know what? I'm not 100% sure, but for sure we can get some Tim Tam to celebrate.
That sounds perfect. Congratulations on your citizenship. Enjoy your afternoon. From Armenia, would you please welcome Tigran Nersessian.
So Tigran has called Australia home since 2015 when he moved here to be with the love of his life. It's all about romance this year, Dan.
Congratulations, Tigran. Please welcome from the Philippines, the Estomata family, Lloyd and Fami.
Registered nurses, before moving here from the Philippines, they thought it was a big desert country, that Sydney was the only city. Well, I'm thrilled that they've discovered Canberra, our nation's capital, where today they join us as Australians.
Congratulations to the Estomata family. And finally, from El Salvador, would you please welcome Tatiana Koenigsberg.
She's always felt welcome in Australia, loves the diversity, our egalitarian way of life, the honest and relaxed Australia, having learned much about the history and heritage.
Tatiana, you've been here since around 2011. What made you decide to finally take this step?
University. I came to study. Yeah.
And I also see that you've mentioned some of the Australian food you like, including Vegemite toast. Will you be celebrating with that today, or is there a barbecue on the menu?
Barbecue as well.
That sounds perfect. Congratulations on your citizenship. Enjoy your day. Tatiana Koenigsberg. Congratulations to all our new citizens. Thank you, Prime Minister. And would you please join me in thanking the Prime Minister and Sarah Yaya and Lauren Murphy from the Department of Home Affairs. It's also traditional at citizenship ceremonies for the opportunity for the rest of us to affirm our commitment to Australia. The affirmation is similar to the pledge made by the new citizens and affirms our commitment to Australia and its people. Participation is voluntary and affirmation ceremonies have no legal effect, but they are an important way that we can share this special event with our newest citizens. To lead us in the affirmation ceremony, I'm delighted to welcome to the stage the Governor-General of Australia.
Ladies and gentlemen, happy Australia Day, and delighted, Linda and I are delighted to be here with you this morning to share in this very special occasion, particularly for all those who have become Australians today. We understand that joy because we welcomed a new Australian into our family 3 weeks ago, little Charlie, and so in a sense I'll be making an affirmation for him, I hope, today as well. Could I also thank Auntie Tina for her welcome to country, and through her and through the Naunawal people, ask that they accept our acknowledgement of all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islanders' commitment to our country, the leadership they've shown and the way they've looked after our country so well for generation after generation. To the Prime Minister, to our distinguished guests, welcome and thank you for participating and making this day such a special occasion, particularly for our new Australians. I join in the Prime Minister in echoing his comments about our experiences over the last 3 months here in Australia. Linda and I have travelled to many fire-affected communities over recent months, and yes, we see people on their knees, not beaten, not down forever, with a stern and willing heart to get back on their feet into the future, but around them a real uprising of community spirit. I think rediscovering some of what has held this country together for so long, but pressures of the day sometimes pull us apart. So it's been delightful to see that. To our new Australians today, 29 of you with families, thank you for making the decision you have. I can understand how difficult it is, and this is always a very emotional day and an emotional ceremony. But we are delighted that you are joining the Australian family. Welcome. To our Australians of the Year, congratulations again. James, John and Bernie and Ash in absence, well done, and we are extremely proud of what you have contributed to our country, and it's not the end. We know there's more to come, so thank you. My job today is very simple, is to lead us in the affirmation, and as Stephanie says, this has become an important part of our ceremony. It is not legally binding, it's voluntary. You don't have to be an Australian to join in, but if you live here and you sense that these are values or words you would like to repeat, please join with me. If you'll please stand, those who wish to make the affirmation, and repeat after me. Our newest Australians, you get a second chance. As an Australian citizen, I affirm my loyalty to Australia and its people, whose democratic beliefs I share, whose rights and liberties I respect, and whose laws I uphold and obey. Thank you. Please be seated. Happy Australia Day.
Thank you very much, Governor-General. On this National Day, we're all encouraged to sing our national anthem loud and proud, wherever we are. So would you please welcome back to the stage Rachel Learcar and the ANU Contemporary Choir to take us through Advance Australia Fair.
Australians, all let us rejoice, for we are young and free. We've golden soil and wealth for toil. Our home is girt by sea. Our land abounds in nature's gifts of beauty, rich and rare. Every stage advance Australia fair. In joyful strains then let us sing Advance Australia fair. Ooh, ooh. Beneath our radiant Southern Cross, we'll toil with hearts and hands to make this commonwealth of ours renowned of all the lands. For those who come across the seas, we've boundless plains to share. With courage let us all combine to advance Australia fair. In joyful strains then let us sing Advance Australia
Thank you, Rachel Jeff and the ANU Contemporary Choir. Please be seated. I'd like to thank everyone here in Commonwealth Park for joining us for the 2020 National Flag Raising and Citizenship Ceremonies, and to wish you all a very happy Australia Day. Now would you please welcome Naunawal elder Auntie Tina Brown and her nieces and nephews. They will perform a traditional Welcome to Country dance to end today's event.
And how amazing going from that tradition of that beautiful anthem that's relatively contemporary to this, an ancient cleansing of the way from Auntie Tina Brown, her nieces and nephews Darius, Melissa and Melanie there. This is about building community, isn't it, Commissioner?
Absolutely, Dan, and community has been so important to us these last months, particularly the support the community has been provided, our emergency services workers, our rural firefighters all over the country.
Get him back. Get him in. You're gonna bra. Malia, nobody. Mana busy, mana bada. Nano dura.
And that wraps up the 2020 National Flag Raising and Citizenship Ceremony. What a morning it's been for me. This is about figuring out how we come together as Australians.
Dan, we look forward to the future, to rebuilding what we have lost this season and to come back better and stronger.
Stronger indeed. Our hearts go out to everyone working on the front line and those supporting. If you want to help those Australians affected by the bushfires and droughts, get behind charities that are helping to rebuild lives and communities at abc.net.au/appeals. Stephanie, Brantz, Commissioner Georgeina Whelan and myself, everyone watching around Australia, the rest of the world here, thank you for joining us. Stay with us on ABC and ABC iView.